A century ago, so many people from Pennsylvania to Washington State had swollen thyroid glands.
Yes, my dear. Oh. What's the trouble? Are you all right?
Yes.
It's my goiter, isn't it?
But did you say goiter? What goiter?
This football-shaped lump jutting out the side of my neck.
Oh! That goiter. Hey!
And this might never have been documented had it not been for First World War.
A huge proportion of potential military recruits from Michigan were considered ineligible for service, either because they had intellectual impairment or because they simply had goiter so large they couldn't fit their necks into a military uniform.
Our bodies need iodine to make thyroid hormone, and we use thyroid hormone to regulate our body's usage of energy from food. A lot of the ailments associated with chronic iodine deficiency have been known historically as cretinism. Goiters, low energy, sometimes weight gain, and in the children of iodine-deficient mothers, intellectual disability. Fortifying salt with iodine was first implemented in Switzerland in 1922.
In only a few years, goiters disappeared from Switzerland. The national rate of deaf-mute births fell from 1 in 600 to 1 in 3,000. And since 1930, there have been 0 documented cases of a Swiss child born with cretinism. But iodization's biggest, yet most invisible effect wasn't discovered until 2013. Thanks to a timeline quirk, researchers were able to study 2 million men born before and after salt iodization in the US, because exactly 18 years later were the American drafts for World War II. In the draft data, they found that in the 25% most iodine-deficient areas of the country, later recruits born after iodization scored 1 standard deviation higher on military cognitive exams. If we take all the US births from salt iodization up through World War II, we get a total of 180 million added IQ points. And that's only an estimate for those 20 years. So today, doctors don't only crown iodine deficiency as the most preventable cause of intellectual disability, but iodine sufficiency as the best thing we can do for global general intelligence. All for 5 cents per person per year.
Contrary to popular belief, you probably cannot taste the iodine in salt. There have been studies with tasting panels. It does not affect food quality.
Look at how trusted chefs talk about iodized salt. I don't recommend using iodized salt as it makes everything taste slightly metallic.
Iodized table salt. This is trash. Table salt is going to be great for the trash. You may also sometimes notice a slight bitter aftertaste. Table salt, honestly, is good for nothing.
But every expert I asked said,
there really is not good evidence, as far as I'm aware, that you can really taste the difference.
None of our testers could tell the difference.
So we're doing this double-blinded.
Yes, a double-blind test means that we don't even know who's getting which sample.
I spoke to an expert about this, and he told me the triangle test was the way to go.
Yes.
And even more than that, he told me to do a double triangle test. So one where the odd one out is iodized and the other 2 are non-iodized, and then one where the odd one out is the non-iodized and the other 2 are iodized.
This feels like we're getting extra rigorous today.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I'm very excited to share these results with you. So we had 10 tasters and only 3 out of the 10 got it right.
Okay.
And neither were you.
Okay.
We did our best to be rigorous, but it's a small group. So I also have the results of 34 studies on iodized salt in food. No changes, except mortadella had a tiny color shift. No changes, except a single lemon flavoring got less sweet. No changes with Ki, but KiO3 occasionally have minor effects.
Colder countries tend to use potassium iodide, or Ki. Warmer countries use potassium iodate, or KiO3. That's because Ki tends to evaporate in humidity, while KiO3 is more stable. But they're essentially the same. KiO3 just becomes Ki during cooking or in your body. But if you have to use Ki, one way to stabilize it is with dextrose, so that's added together with it.
And another ingredient often in table salt is an anti-caking agent, like calcium silicate, to keep the salt from solidifying. Fun fact, Morton built their whole brand on this idea of keeping salt pourable even during humidity. That's why they use the Rain Girl logo and that famous slogan, when it rains, it pours. No changes. Remember that this isn't a yes or no question. Everything has a taste, including iodine. It's just how noticeable is 0.01% of it in salt. So don't take our word for it. Test yourself at home. The popular view on iodized salt just shouldn't be, oh, this optional thing tastes bad if it doesn't taste bad and isn't optional. Iodine deficiency can appear anywhere. 23 countries are still deficient today, from Finland to Nicaragua to Vietnam to Germany. And several more, including the US, are trending down.
We're not cooking and eating at home nearly as much as we used to.
77% of the salt that we ingest in this country is said to be from restaurant food, commercially processed foods. Those foods are typically not made with iodized salt. So it's really only about 10 or 11% of the salt that we ingest, which is the salt that we're adding in cooking or adding at the table, is potentially iodized. And even of that salt in the US, currently only 52% of the market share is iodized salt.
And of course, one big driver of that problem is me, insufferable foodies who are all obsessed these days with the fancy salts. And there is some data indicating that pregnant women here in the United States are seeing some resurgence of iodine deficiency. Pearce would also absolutely recommend that anyone who's pregnant or could become pregnant make a concerted effort to get your iodine.